Neurolinguistic Programming.
Social engineering and NLP.
Neurolinguistic Programming.
Neurolinguistic Programming.
NLP.
You want to do an SE attack. You should have a good understanding of craftsmanship. NLP right now is something what you can't miss if you really want to go into engagements and large scale.
NLP is very, very prominent in marketing, religion, commercials. It takes advantage of typical programmed responses and gestures. It employs what's called an NLP pattern break. It can be used to influence people. It can be used to temporarily override thoughts and feelings.
If we know how the mind processes things, we can inject our code into the mind.
The mind has a limit on processing power, just like a computer. The human mind thinks in terms of open loops. It's literally the number of processes that are running in memory at any given time. You can ultimately fork bomb the human mind.
Yes, you can program your brain and others.
You can hack a person just like you can hack a computer. Seriously, you can actually man in the middle people, you can buffer overflow people, and you can in fact control the IP. People are basically USB sticks. You can read to and write from them as if they were a block device.
You know, the mind is basically a two-part entity. There's the conscious mind, which is, you know, about that big, and then there's the unconscious mind, which is this vast ocean doing all this cool stuff that you're not even aware of. The barrier between those two parts of your mind is known as the critical faculty.
So we've got this thing called the critical factor, and what this does is, this is what controls and prioritizes the information from our subconscious to our conscious mind, and the idea is it stops us getting screwed over. So when someone's trying to manipulate us, we've got these red flags and barriers coming up saying, no, 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 no. But then we look at some of these techniques as to how we can bypass that critical factor.
Your exterior senses, like your sight, your hearing, represent your world to your internal wetware CPU. Here is the classic. I hear what you say. I see what you say. You know, I can feel what you're saying. Preferred representational system matching speed, volume, tone, rate, and of speech overcomes clients' reluctance to communicate. Your dominant representation, your representational sense, even shows up physiologically in the direction you look when you are lying or telling the truth.
Hilariously enough, your eyes are basically hard drive lights. Right? So this is within the context of you are looking at this person, right? And if they're looking to the right, it's visually remembered, right? So you have visually created, auditory created, and F, which stands for feeling and kinesthetic, like imagine what it feels like to walk on the beach barefoot, for example. And then on the other side, you have visually remembered, auditory remembered, and AI, which for some reason they've marked as internal dialogue.
They are recalling towards that part of the brain. Here's the caveat. Here's why people say that stuff don't work. It's backwards in left-handed people.
You have to get a baseline for the person that you're talking to or interacting with, because if they're a lefty, this is backwards.
How do we become the master manipulator? Any of you guys familiar with Darren Brown?
This is Darren Brown. Most people that are into the social engineering scene probably know who this guy is. In some cases, they consider him a role model. He uses a trick called the Russian scam, where he can walk up and, using what's called an NLP pattern break, convince you to basically empty your pockets into his hands based solely on that first conversation.
If ever you've been sat in a room and you find yourself daydreaming and all of a sudden, oh, I just went off for a minute there. That is what hypnosis is. As obvious as it sounds and stupid as it sounds, that's how it works, because we're bypassing the critical factor. We go into this state of mindlessness.